and Can Dig It Designs. This is one of my favorite shows. I like, as far as television goes, I've always hated television. Okay, there are things that television can do for society and for you as an individual, including entertainment. Okay, sports, whatnot. Um, but all the laugh track kind of not funny. I found a lot of comedies, if you take away the laugh track, it's not so funny. As a matter of fact, it's kind of tragic. Okay, and it shows you how disturbed these people are and how, if they were acted like that in normal life, no one would want to be around them times 10. They've had bruises on them from 10-foot poles, right? Um, Everyone thinks, oh, I could do that. I could design cars. You see, if it was that easy, there would be more well known designers. There are designers and then there's well known designers. I can tell you right now, there are guys out there who are building cars that could win first place at Riddler, but they're not showing their cars. There are talents hidden out there, okay? And it does take something special to design it. And the reason I know this is because of all the bikes that I built, I really didn't care how fast they were. It was about unique design aspects. That's what it was about. So as soon as the Android tablet gets here, I'll sign up to YouTube. I'll get all my pages on there, and then, well, if I can find a decent, movie app. It used to be really simple. Windows 7 came with one. You know what I mean? Windows Movie Maker. Real simple. Here, take all these and make a movie out of it for me. So I'm sure there's something out there I can use. All the original formatted UFO videos that I have, those are going to go on the Von Buren UFO page. You'll get to see all the pictures of the bike from start to finish. 7 months of work. Breaking the bike down to nothing. I'm talking about even all the electrical components are individually removed. Because you have to, if you're going to make your bike 10 inches longer but make it look normal, okay, a lot of changes have to be done. When you're putting in the air over shifters and your stall device and all these things, everything has to come apart. Even the oil pan came off because I put custom oil pans on it. And then the polishing. So I don't have as many photos of polishing as I would like because, well, I wasn't really having fun doing it. It's not. It's so repetitious. You know what I mean? Sand, 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 sand. Keep stepping down, you know what I mean? 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. And then all the polishing and then assembling so that you're not putting dings and stuff on objects. And then designing the bike to be different. So there was nothing I could do with the Hayabusa frame itself. All I could do was polish it in the areas that were showed when the bike was assembled. I did it on the last two. I could only do that. I could only, I had to use their frame. Okay, I had to. Um, but the tree and everything else other than the forks, okay, were custom. The two front forks, the shock, and let me see what else. So there was some electronic componentry, I guess, that was stock. Some of it, some got moved, uh, but everything else on the bike besides those two front forks and the frame, I made. And the bike could have been twice as fast, and I wouldn't have enjoyed it more than I did building and designing it. Gotta tell you, it's like I'm a terrible artist. God, I suck. I can have a picture. They're like, oh, you just picture it in your mind, and then you just draw it. And I'm like, okay. And I tried. my whole life, and I just can't draw. Okay, but if you give me a ruler and a set of drafting tools, I can draw anything you want. Okay, so it's kind of a mindset, I guess. What can dig it when you look at the way he builds a car. They're not gaudy. They're not, four blowers on top of your car kind of thing. You know what I mean? World's tallest blower. Uh, you know, a 70-foot long Lamborghini. That's I've seen all the trick cars. We had Daddy Roth back in my days. Okay, and he had the rat rods, and he had we got trading cards and all kinds of stuff, and I would get them from him. And he built a bunch of crazy cars, and actually built the cars. Um, but nowadays, there's probably two or three that I like, and then there are those they're good artists, and they have a semi good eye for timelessness, but they're more into entertainment and showmanship. Um, and that kind of it wears thin after a while, because if you're just going to take a car and strip it and then bolt a bunch of shit onto it, anyone can do that. Oh, but we do it in a week. What was that show? Who was that had that show? Yeah, we're gonna do your car in 7 days or whatever the fuck it was, 10 days, and I thought that's so fucking stupid. So that's an entertainment show. That's not about the car. And having built, so many custom vehicles myself, I know that, they're just going from cutscene to cutscene, and that's 3 fucking months between this scene and that scene. People have no idea that when they're like, okay, they show the guy cutting the bumper apart, and then next thing you know, it's fitted to the car with all the stuff built in, and it's like there's months go into that, and they make it look like anyone can do it. Kind of like Sunday repair shows, right? How to put a turbo on your car, and it only takes them 20 minutes to show you how to do it with commercials. When you look at a Condiga car, it has a look like artists do. Those are fucking artifacts again. So they have a look. You can tell a Rembrandt by looking at it. Okay, Picasso by looking at it. Okay, they're just timeless. They're not gaudy. The classic idea is the vet that he designed. He relied on old classic lines. Now, if that line has been looking good for 60 years, then it's going to last another 60 years. There's something sexy about it that people like, and that shape will always be a shape that people like. We know there's tones, audio tones that stimulate us that everybody seems to like, and we know there's shapes that everybody seems to like. Getting that right is what I liked to do. When people looked at the bike, they said, and I had many comments telling me that was the best looking bike they'd seen in years, and it wasn't gaudy. It was complete, but it wasn't gaudy because there's no chrome. The only thing that was chrome on my bikes were the wheelie bars and the kickstand. That was it. Everything else was hand polished aluminum. Everything else was manufactured out of aluminum if necessary. But the only thing that was chrome was the wheelie bars. And it makes them look different than a chrome bike. A chrome bike is, as far as I'm concerned, is just cheap shit. Just bolt that crap on there. You know what I mean? You don't do any of the body work. You don't do, to build a bike, you need to go from start to finish, which is what, you put 1,000 the last two bikes that I built, they had 990 something miles on them when they got stripped down and turned into just a fun, Saturday night drag bike. Wasn't meant to be a super performer. I could set it up to run 10s one night if there was no one there that was going to beat me. No sense trashing the bike. It would easily run a 9.2, but 10 was fast enough. I could take that bike there for 2 fucking seasons and not even change the clutch. Okay, and had all kinds of fun because it wasn't about the speed. When it comes to speed, I'm kind of about, I'm a more of a top end guy. Okay. At around 200 miles per hour, you start getting this a little more adrenaline going. So I used to be an acceleration guy where I thought the brute acceleration was what I was after. But, after doing that for 50 years, I kind of like the getting tucked down under the windscreen and hearing the wind start to get quieter as it moves back. It's kind of a weird sound. You can hear that on the video I have on here. Yeah, beautiful cars. I've seen pretty much all of the shows that they've produced, and I know there's some probably a lot that we haven't seen. Some cars come in and just get some minor shit, but we get to see the real builds, right? And they're just so nice. The Nomad is my favorite, by the way, in case anyone wants to know that watches Kindig designs. The Nomad, that would be the car out of everything that he's built that I would take. And if I can tell you that 20 years ago probably would have been the 2,000 horsepower blue Malibu, you know what I mean? But yeah, the Copper Caddy, see, that's a little gaudy for me, kind of thing, you know what I mean? Perfection is when you look at a Kindig car and it looks like that's how the factory would have made it if if a more artistic designer was in charge, you know what I mean? So, yeah, I really enjoy the show because it takes me back to my building days. I kind of miss that a lot. Even with the last bike that I built, that was 2012. I guess I stopped doing the bikes because it was just too hard on my body, and I got what was called frozen shoulder disease in both my shoulders, and that kind of finished me off. And then it turned out that having aluminum on me all the time was bad for me. Kind of all caught up to me at one time. I missed the building. The part where you strip it all down and you've got a frame and a set of forks, and from there everything should be handmade by you. Body, everything, nuts and bolts you can reuse, you know what I mean? But you'll get to see that process. And same thing with building the garage. When it was Ox Yoke Road in Anderson, California, and I found this little shop in there. And at first it was going to be two people doing it. He ended up buying Blue Boy, and that was the 2009 Hayabusa that I built. But he wasn't much for neatness. His side was always a mess. And I said, okay, look, we're going to do this. I'm going to have to put like a row of toolboxes and tell you to keep your garbage on that side. Yeah, cardboard boxes full of old oil cans and fucking just not organized whatsoever, which is the exact opposite of me. So that lasted about 3 months, and he went and got another place. That was a total complete mess. So I built everything. I built my tables. I built my tool racks. I built my material racks. I enjoyed all of that, designing all of that. Those tool racks, I probably could have sold those. Yeah. 1.125 inches. They were 2 foot deep, 3 foot across, on rolling wheels, real sturdy. So I'll put those in there. I got thousands of pictures, but I didn't really organize them the way I should have. Cameras were different then, you know what I mean? I was like going through cameras like hotcakes because they were just failing on me. So didn't know much about what format to use, any of that. So we'll get what we get. But it'll just be something I can share with you, you know what I mean? Just another part of life. My hobby for risk basically kind of transformed when I started doing the bikes, because it went from being about power to being about design and look, for sure. My whole attitude changed. I don't know if it's because I got older, if it's because I met the woman of my dreams. You know what I mean?